Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 everyone. Everyone over here on social media and everyone on YouTube. It's your boy Sam's. This is that comic show podcast. Tonight is all about the ladies. It is ladies' night, or it's Women's History Month. More importantly, so there's been a lot of great, powerful, strong, intelligent women that has created and done so many amazing things. My mother is a woman, obviously, so I love my mother. Sisters, everything. When it comes to the impact of what women has done in this world. So tonight we are going to talk about one particular topic, and that is going to be women's impact in comic book medium. And I have a very special guest. You have seen her before. She was here a couple episodes ago for the Love of Lego. Maddie, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Corey? I'm good.
Excellent. Good, good, good. We were chit-chatting before we came on, hence why we are a little bit late. But it was a good conversation. We're talking about this handsome character in the back there, Tigger, and in a beautiful, beautiful Lego set. In which he came from. But we're not going to talk about that. Go on lego.com and check out that Winnie the Pooh set if you want to know more about it. Tonight is all about women and the impact of women and what women have done in this world, in society, especially with comic books. So we are in a world where comic book movies are divisive at times. They are filled with joy at times. And a lot of times you think of, when you think of Avengers, who's the first person you think of?
Black Widow for women.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah, I was going to say you always think of a guy first. It's not a lot. A lot of times you think of a female. When you think about, like, if you say Justice League, who's the first person that comes to mind?
Superman.
Okay, so. And Superman, not Henry Cavill, because a lot of people tend to say, they say Superman, but they really mean Henry Cavill because they got a crush on Henry Cavill. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, all right. But when it comes to the women impact in the comic book medium, that's what I really want to talk about. So let's talk about, in your case, for the Love of Legos, who was your first exposure to women in comic books?
Okay. It would be Wonder Woman, old school, and Isis. They came around the same time, and then there was a non-comic book heroine that was really my first female hero, and that was the Bionic Woman, Baby Summers.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Trying to remember my first exposure to a female as a comic book character or heroine. Wow, I'm really trying to piece it together. I think standalone was She-Hulk, which is weird because it was a cartoon series that came out, and a lot of times I saw a lot of the females under different character banners. So if it was Black Widow, it was under Avengers. If it was Justice League, I always saw Wonder Woman. So you always saw them in an ensemble. You never really saw them stand alone by themselves. And I think the first one for me was oh my goodness, the name escapes me of her name. It's gonna kill me, but She-Hulk. That was my first like standalone cartoon series of a female, and I was just sitting there watching, and I was just intrigued by what and how she was, because she wasn't the Hulk, and she was her own character, and I thought that was really good because it depicted her as a self-made woman. She was a lawyer. She was, she fought. She can transform into the She-Hulk Amazon type of woman, and then she can go back to her regular. Oh, no. Actually, she didn't go back to her regular self. She stayed that way. So I always thought it was really, really good because, and it's going to kind of lead me into my next question. Women have a stigma about them when it comes to comic book media. They tend to be the damsel in distress. Whenever you think of Superman, you think of Lois Lane. When you think of Batman, you think of, Catwoman or Barbara Gordon. If you're thinking more recent, when you think of Cyclops, Jean Grey, so these strong, powerful women are always connected to their male, either counterpart or, I guess love interest. So.
Right.
Is that something that you've noticed growing up?
Well, with Wonder Woman, of course, she was always in love with the what was his name? I really never got his name.
Stephen Trevor.
Yeah, there's too many Steves. They kind of separate these guys. It's like Prince Charming. Prince Charming has Cinderella, Snow White, and all of them. It's like that's a lot of alimony. But
I hear you, definitely, exactly.
But for me, what made her stand out alone was, one, she came from an island of just Amazon women. I was able to relate with that because of our Caribbean background, and we're Taínos. So the women in a lot of Native American cultures, the women are actually the head, or they're very much, like the medicine woman and such. And then what I really loved about Wonder Woman was she had her own plane and it was invisible. I love aviation. So for me, it was like, double win on that one. And then the lasso, all she had to do was put that thing around you, and no matter what you had coming out of your mouth, it was going to be the truth one way or the other, which that's what women, that's what they want. They want you to be upfront and forward. Speak the truth so you don't have to guess the game. So
that's right.
That was she was big, influential that way to me. But I didn't see her really when I saw the current Wonder Woman 1984. I was a little disappointed because she was like Steve this, Steve that, oh, I'm broken heart, blah blah. I'm like, seriously, girl, snap out of it. What the hell, man?
Get over it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like she was mopey. It was like watching Affleck in the Batman suit. It was just mopey. So I was just like, come on, let's not do that. So I was actually rooting for the Cheetah Girl because she was building up her confidence and she was getting, like showing them, hey, no, I'm not taking this from you. And at first, she was getting beat up verbally, which in society, it's been shown, it's been happening. But she started becoming more confident, and then she got a little overconfident and then aggressive. And then, of course, she turned into what she turned into. But it was just, I was disappointed to see Diana going the opposite way. And it was like, this is it. This is your show. Keep going. I know you marry Superman, so get to that point already, Yeah. So that was that kind of put a little damper on me on that movie with her.
What I've always noticed, and for a long time, which is why it took so long for Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, to come out and to be the success it was. It's taken so long for Marvel to put out the first female-led movie, which was Captain Marvel, and because of the fact that a lot of the time, unfortunately, women are painted with that broad brush that you need to be saved, you need a man to do this, you need a man to do that, all that type of stuff. So they're even if they're strong, because that was the one criticism that I always heard about Wonder Woman 84, is that she became, hooked. So I mean, not to go there, but I don't know what Steven did, because I know they had a scene where they were intimate, and whatever he did, got her hooked. So
He put the mojo on her.
it's not bad. That is so bad because like when you look at Wonder Woman's story, Wonder Woman is not that type of character. She is a strong, in your face, unafraid of anything type of woman, and she doesn't get boggled down with the affairs of man and being attracted and connected to a man. I just thought that kind of lost her
Yeah.
mystique. Let's kind of dive into more of that when we think about other females in different comic book movies. So Mystique, in the X-Men franchise, she was considered to be, especially in the movie Apocalypse, she was put up on a banner poster. People wanted to be like her. She was the hero of that entire movie. Like they were saying, like, okay, we want to aspire to be like Mystique, and it was different. And a part of it is, yes, Jennifer Lawrence at the time, she was the biggest star, and it just made sense to kind of just, hey, let's just jump on this wagon and just ride the coattails of this star power that she has and make her the star of the movie. Where I really didn't see and understand why they went that route, because Mystique as a character from the comics, she wasn't that, she wasn't that big of a deal. She was
Right.
she was there, people knew her, but she wasn't like, post up and all that stuff. But so when we think about like characters like Mystique, who wasn't really defined by a man, she was considered to be, like, if anything, a partner to Magneto, instead of being his love interest. So when you think about women in that aspect, does any other name come to mind?
I think of Rogue.
Okay.
I think of Storm. I've always, from what I remember reading and seeing when I was a kid, Storm was always very the leader.
Yeah.
The leader of the pack, the mother.
Mm-hmm.
She had that persona, and the only one person that I felt that she would soften up with is Wolverine.
Wolverine. Okay.
And it was like they had that connection where she was his Zen and he was hers, per se. Like when he was ready to flip out, she kind of like gave him that, not right now. We're in front of people. We're in public, don't do that now. So,
Yes.
So that was a nice mix there. And I've always, like I said, I've seen where in the comics where I saw them, where it was the apocalyptic world. They were older, and they were still together. So I was like, wow, that's really deep there. Yeah. So I like that. I thought she was going to end up with Gambit. They had that likeness.
Who Rogue and Gambit?
But she, I think Bobby Iceman was her guy. But the sad thing, what broke my heart with Rogue was, the ability not to touch anyone, which we're human. So you have to. We were not made to be alone. We were supposed to have a partner.
Yeah.
So that part was always made me sad about her. But I loved her character because she was so independent and so strong. Even though she was hurting on the inside for that aspect, she was even stronger and harder on the outside because of that aspect.
To mention Rogue, Rogue is a very tragic story. For that very reason, her powers, it disables her from human contact, and when she touches someone, she drains their power. For those who don't know, Rogue's ability, Rogue from X-Men, her mutant power is to drain the life force from another person. And by doing that, she also gains their power temporarily, which in some cases permanently when it comes to when she touched Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel in an older comic book. But basically that was her deal. I always thought that the way they depicted that in the X-Men movies was really on point with her character. Here she is a devastatingly strong character, but her vulnerability is the fact that she cannot have human contact. She cannot feel and touch and embrace. She could hug, with those gloves on, but she would drain power as she did it. And what I really liked, there's not a lot of things I really liked from the X-Men movies, but one of the things I really liked was when she kissed Iceman for the first time.
Yeah.
And they showed how his life force was leaving him, and then she possessed some of his power. I thought that they did a good job and a good justice to her character. But again, she was the broad brushstroke. I'm the jealous girl. I can't have him, or I'm with him, but I can't be with him like that. And then another girl is with him, and she could touch him and she can hug him and all that stuff. And I think that just kind of damaged her character going forward. But to jump out of X-Men, well, no, actually, let's stay in X-Men. Jean Grey.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, so her.
Yeah.
I wasn't too crazy about the last movie with the whole her going nuts and looking like she was possessed and whatnot.
Right.
I love Sansa. Don't get me wrong, she was great for the Games of Thrones scene. But I love the whole story of the Phoenix, from Jean Grey going into the Phoenix. A lot of women associate with that in life.
Yeah.
When you get to that point where you feel you can't go no further, now you have to rise up from those ashes and kick that butt and do what you got to get done. So
that's right.
I relate to that a lot. And her character as Jean Grey with Cyclops, I mean, I felt bad for him because he could never see her with regular eyes. So every time he did or tried to not wear his visor, he had to shut his eyes. Yeah. So that made it kind of rough there. I would hate to think, and I don't use the hate word a lot, but it would be disturbing to think if they had a child, this little guy inside, if he opened his eyes, don't laser his way out.
In the comics, they did have a child. They did have a child, but he didn't possess those powers. But he was he's insanely strong. He's an insanely strong character. Actually, their child is Cable. So if you know the X-Men, so from Deadpool, that Cable, he's their future. I think it's, and again, my history may be mixed up. He's either the son or grandson of Jean and Cyclops. Either the son or grandson. I think he might be the son, but I'm not 100%.
So you mentioned Cable, and have you seen the Justice League?
Yeah, I've watched it.
So was it in that I was watching? So who is that? Another Cable? When they got to
there's two different universes. Justice League is DC. Cable is Marvel.
Oh yeah, I know that part. I didn't know if at any given time will they ever multiverse.
There was a comic book run in the 90s where they did versus. So they did Marvel versus DC. So they did something like that. I don't believe Cable was a part of that. I think it was just the main characters of the two universes that came together and did all that stuff. But I don't think they ever did that. But there's a possibility for that in the future. Who knows?
That would be a cool movie to watch. I mean, we already know who would win, but I'm just saying.
That's another night. That's another conversation for another night. So Jean Grey. Now, Jean in the comic books is an alpha level mutant, one of the strongest mutants ever of all time, and everything like that. There was a part in the comics where she became Phoenix, and again with the broad brushstroke of a female. She was once strong, powerful. When she became Phoenix, she became with a lack of a better choice of words, she became a hussy. She dressed it like a hooker. It was bad. And they dressed her so that she would be more sexually appealing to people that was getting the comics. Because for a long time, Marvel started to kind of drop their viewership and the purchases of comic books when they came out with the Phoenix storyline, you know, it raised the sales a little bit because of the fact that they embodied and depicted Jean Grey with you know, the Coca-Cola bottle shape, you know, clothes kind of scantily drawn on her, you know, ambiguous portions of her body and all that stuff. So, you know, that was the way they sold that comic, because the story, though it was a great story, wasn't appealing. So, you know, and I've seen that a lot in comic books and in movies where
every movie, every comic that I've ever seen, I mean, they had those big thunder thighs and tiny little non-realistic waists. And of course, the Barbie top heavy that would give you back pain like crazy. I don't care if you're human or not, or a super being, you're still going to complain. The cut arms and the really tiny, dainty wrist and those little, really tiny children hands.
Exactly.
So it was just, it was unrealistic in that part. And growing up as a young woman, you know, yeah, you admire if you have that female superhero that you like, but then mentally you're thinking, I can't go to the gym 24 hours a day. I'm not going to ever look like that.
Right.
So that, I think they could have worked differently with it. She-Hulk was the closest to a real woman size, the Marilyn Monroe size 12 size.
Right.
That, you know, people think that she was so tiny, and it's like, no, she was regular size. Rita Hayworth.
When she was when she was in her Hulk form, I believe she was about 6'5", like with the heels, like with heels and everything like that. But her body was proportioned.
Right.
Her body was proportioned as like an athlete, like a female athlete, like just, you know, looking at females from then and now, like as far as from an athletic build, you know, they have broad shoulders. They still have their
feminine features.
Right. So it's they're done better now, you know, as opposed to the 90s. The 90s in comic books, you know, even if you think of Supergirl and Wonder Woman, not Wonder Woman, or is it I think it's Wonder Girl. They made her chest was gigantic, same little waist, but in her outfit was just cleavage. That's it. You just saw cleavage, her little symbol, and then she's wearing like a bikini. That's her super suit. And again, that was to grab a certain audience, you know, 18 to 35 male, to read these type of comic books. I'm not gonna lie, like when I was young, you know, that type of stuff excited me when I saw the characters, you know, they'll be on the cover and, you know, they're laying down, but then their body is shaped a certain way, and it's like, ooh, that looks really, I'm going to pick up this comic book.
Yeah.
I never read the series, but I want to read some more about, you know, but that was kids, right? That's how you grab them. That's how you bring them in.
Yeah.
Now, when we look at the comic book movies, and we take that same type of mentality of how to sell to young men, and we bring it into the movie universe, it was the same thing, right? I would never forget watching Avengers and watching Scarlett Johansson interrogate Loki.
Oh my God, yes. I love that scene.
I love the scene, but the first thing you see in that scene is when she walks up, and she's walking up and that camera is panned directly in front of her. Like,
look here, not there. Look here. I'm right here.
Oh my God. I remember I was in the movies. I was watching the scene. I was like, and then she walked. I was like, and I was with my boys too. I was with my boys. It was almost as if it was unplanned. We were all sitting there like this, and it was just like, and then we all looked at each other. We looked at a line like this, and we were all like, it was like, well, come on, man, come on. You can't just do stuff like that. But again, that's how you sell. That's how you bring people in, right? Does it work? Or
it works for you guys because it works for the producers or the persons who made the show, because they're gonna bank. The less she's wearing, the more their pockets are getting filled, the bigger the stake piece is going to be. So, but for us, it cheapens her identity because you're not focusing on her skills, you're not focusing on her power, you're not focusing on her backstory, what she brings to that team. You're focusing on how much more of that outfit is going to fall off. So, you know, with Wonder Woman, the first thing I fell in love with for both movies was the costumes, because I myself, I do the cosplay. So all I kept thinking was, oh, I so can wear that because I'm not small. So I can pull it off. Then with Black Widow, when they first showed her in that whole first black outfit, I was like, yes, I can wear that because, you know, it's work appropriate.
It still looks cool. Yeah.
And it was still appealing, but it wasn't so exposed or everything. So that's one of the things, like Gamora, when she came on, again, I was so happy because here's this strong young lady. At first, she's looking at Chris Pratt, you know, like Skylar, like, dude, go, no, stop. You know, she's like every girl. Stop trying to talk to me, bro. I'm trying to get my job done. Now I ain't have time for you. And again, her costume was not where you were focusing on what she was, you know, the Gagas. Even when they put Nebula on, I fell in love with her character. She was, of course, a shattered person. But again, Marvel, I love the way that they started clothing the women up instead of taking more off, so you can focus on, hey, she's very important to this team. She's not just a pretty face and standing there going, oh, did you want me to push that? Okay. With my heels, you know. And that was the other thing I was looking at. There was a scene where one of the girls was running and she was in heels, and I'm like, come on now, that's not gonna happen. I want to know I want the brand, because those aren't Pradas.
You know, you raise a really good point, because if we look at the MCU and how they treat their women character, all of the women character plays a pinnacle role when it comes to the team dynamic. Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow, she plays a very important role. Even if you look at the individual movies, right? So they kind of follow the same formula. Iron Man had Pepper Potts. Steve Rogers had Agent Carter. Thor has Jane, right? They follow the same type of formula. But if you look at their counterpart, Pepper Potts went from secretary of Iron Man to being the CEO of the entire company. So there's a progression in her character. Jane Foster is a doctor of physics. So she's up there. Who's the other one? Agent Carter. She's one of the founders of S.H.I.E.L.D. So these characters, so these are not just like, you know, dainty, I need help type of characters. These are strong women and educated women, right? I didn't like Iron Man 3. Hated that movie. That's still one of my, I would say, when it comes to in the MCU, that's my bottom movie right there. Can't get worse than Iron Man 3. I didn't like Iron Man 3.
So that's the one where the old boyfriend came by and he did the whole. Yes. I like the fact that he got her her own Iron Man suit.
So I was getting to that. That was what I enjoyed that part as much as I hated the movie. And in parts, I was like, I don't really like Pepper Potts because she stops Iron Man from being Iron Man all the time. She's that person that she's his conscience, and I don't want her to be that. I want him to be out there. But
you can't be reckless. You can't have reckless. You're yin and the yang.
You're right. But you know what? She defeated Killian in that movie. And not only did she defeat him, that she was in the suit for the first time, which was a foreshadowing to Rescue as her character in Endgame and stuff like that. So again, it was good progression for her character. Now, Jane Foster, as we're getting to Thor, Love and Thunder, she is going to play the role of Thor. So there's a comic book that came out a couple years ago where Jane Foster wields Mjolnir and she becomes Thor, the female Thor.
Wow.
So that's a storyline that they're going down, and that's huge, right? And when I'm looking back and I'm looking at the MCU, there are so many prominent and strong female leads, and how they showed them. Wakanda, Black Panther, for example.
Yes.
Like all of the women, their army, their top army, right hand to T'Challa, all women.
It was bad. Oh my God,
No.
I got goose pimples.
Yes, yes. When I saw that, and I'm like, yo,
Wake up!
I'm like,
Wake
yo,
up, people!
those is like move or you will be moved. I'm like, oh, she's unafraid, unafraid. And
She killed me when she took off that wig.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
That was good. She just took it off and oh my gosh. Everything about
thing too. A lot of these movies, especially with the superheroes and whatnot, they're trying to put into the heads of these young people what a female should be like.
Right.
Wearing the heels, gotta, the shaved legs and the little outfits, and the hair's gotta be done, and the makeup and the nails and the whole 9 yards. And it's like, okay, so when you're getting your butt kicked by that villain,
uh-huh.
and your homegirl standing right there, but she's looking at you going, I just got my hair done and I just did my nails. Inside, you're gonna say, pound this guy, just go at it. But you expecting her not to. Well, society is expecting her not to, because she's supposed to just stand there and be like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do?
I can't do it. I can't do it.
She pulled a Kevin Hart. We need help.
But something, I want to ask you, 2021, this is the year that we're in. Do you feel, because now, I would say even from the time our former president was in office, there has been a great uprising of women standing up. The Me Too movement came out of this, where women were stepping up, fighting back. Some of these big names, male, exposed for all the stuff that they've been doing to women, and now they're being, placed behind bars. Some of them litigation, some of them lost their titles and all that stuff. So just a real quick background for everybody. Marvel is ran by a I forget the guy's name, Bob Iger, I believe, and he is, I don't want to say chauvinistic, but he's chauvinistic. Hence why we didn't get a proper female-led movie until like 2019.
Wow.
So he didn't see the purpose and the need to promote women like that. But he's the pass. Kevin Feige, he's running everything as far as Marvel Entertainment, movie, TV, all that stuff. So there is a big push for women to be the front and center. So, when it comes to Miss Marvel, Kamala, that is a huge comic right now. And there is a big, they're promoting that. Where do you see the movie industry, the comic book movie industry, as it relates to women?
It's such a big door for them to come and jump through, not walk through, not peek and crack the door. There's so much that they can do. There's so many characters that they can bring in. It's a whole franchise on just the women. I mean, we know the guys, all right, we know they're there, they're forever going to be there.
Right.
But now you got these women who are just as strong, just as smart, and just as good as these guys. But because they're women, they're stuck in the closet. Let's keep them in the background. If we need one, we'll pull one out. No, bring them all out. Let the young minds boys and girls select or have that option to say, oh, look at this one. Oh, but look, she could do this. And oh, but this one could do that. Let them see the variety to come out, not let's just bring one at a time, burn her out, and then bring out another and burn that one out. When they did the guys, they did it all in one shot and one woman. And Black Widow she opened that first door, per se, through the Avengers. When Captain Marvel came out, when I sat in the movies, because I really did not know anything about Captain Marvel, and I kept listening to people give their opinions, good or bad, and I wanted to see it for myself. And the whole storyline, again, I related to because of my love for military, aviation, space, the whole night. I mean, literally, I was just like, oh God, I'm Captain Marvel. That's how I related. When she threw on that suit and the little girl changed her up, and then when she came back with the space, I was just like, mind blown. I got to come back and see this again because I know I blinked somewhere. Yes. You know, I truly loved that movie. A lot of people were not crazy about it because they didn't like the person who played her. I felt she played her great.
Okay.
She was very realistic to me on that screen as the person. When they showed you the backstory from when she was a little girl and she was being beat up and she had to, fight her way through when she was in the military, and they kept, because this is realistic. It is happening, unfortunately. And a lot of women have to go through this, but they still persevere and they still push on, whether somebody has something good or bad to say, they got to focus on their goal.
Absolutely.
So when she came out, and it was just so beautiful because I have a granddaughter and all I kept thinking was, Mamita, there you go. There you go. Not just the planet Earth. She's got universe power. So that was beautiful to me. I even dressed up. That was my cosplay for that year. Because as soon as I saw it, I was like, I got my costume. And there was plenty to pick from because every time they bring out a new one, I'm like, ooh, I like this, I like that. But when I saw Captain Marvel, it was months before Halloween. I got on the phone with my son's girlfriend who worked at Party City, and I was like, I need this size Captain Marvel. Please put it aside. I'm picking it up tonight. She was like, Ma, it's kind of early. And I was like, Halloween ain't for months. I want to make sure I got my stuff locked down because I'm not waiting to the last minute.
Who are you pulling rank? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, because, I mean, she was just, for me, if I would have known more about her when I was a kid growing up, I would have been even more of a pain in the butt than I was.
It's so true. So around 2019, that was the big year for women. As far as, that was when Captain Marvel came out. That was when Wonder Woman came out. First time on the big screens and stuff like that. And then the year after that, 2020, there were 3 female-led movies. Unfortunately, because of COVID, a lot of that stuff was either put to the side or didn't get the type of acknowledgement that it should have gotten. And granted, the 2 of the properties were DC, and DC really don't have the track history for positive reviews for their movies and so on and so forth. But when I think about the future of where they can go with these characters, it's unfortunate, the passing of Chadwick Boseman left a big open space and question mark for where they're going with Black Panther. A lot of people are saying Shuri, the actress who plays Shuri, she will don the new Black Panther. She'll be the new Black Panther, which will be mind-blowing as far as shifting the traditional storyline onto a new generation. When you think about Iron Man, there's a series coming out, I think next year or end of this year, called Iron Maiden or Ironheart, which will play a black.
Oh, that's his daughter.
Well, in the comic books, I think is either an intern or something like that, or an apprentice. But she's like Shuri. She's very, very smart, very intelligent, and she becomes Iron Man. Now I don't know if they're gonna go with it being his daughter Morgan, because remember Morgan is still a little girl in the current universe. So
Right,
I
right.
could see them doing. I could see them more going towards Ironheart as a older younger woman. Hawkeye. Hawkeye is training a woman
His
to
daughter.
take over his
Yeah.
spot. Right. So you could kind of get you can see where the winds are blowing when it comes to Marvel. That Marvel is starting to shift some of their big characters and secondary characters to a female lead. Now, there's a lot of men who, and let's just be real, take the gloves off. There's a lot of white men who don't want that because
Right.
those are traditionally white men, with the exception of Black Panther. Those are traditionally white men in those positions, white, strong men. And now you're taking away that and you're putting something that's more relatable, that's more understood as far as where the generation is going. And some men don't want to live with that. They don't
Right.
want that. So,
They,
that's
they don't
just
want the
where it
seed
is.
to be planted for the minority.
Right, right.
Because it's enough that we have minorities, but then we're minority and then we're women. So we're even lower.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to carry. That's the part I don't, it's like, we made you.
Yeah.
Our superpower is a human being. We can produce one.
Exactly.
The second superpower right behind it, we can feed them without having to reach out for something. So
Women have always been superheroes. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that.
That they just, again, I for most part was a single mom. I raised 2 kids, and then you look around and it's myself. I was very fortunate. I had a strong mother figure,
Right.
and she showed me basically whatever you can do inside the house, be able to do it outside the house.
Absolutely.
Cover yourself. Look like a woman, but hustle like a man. And that's it. Right there. Don't be dependent. You got this. So I was very much a tomboy growing up. I couldn't help it. I have brothers, and all my friends were guys. Mm-hmm. So I learned carpentry, mechanics, you name it, sports. And it was like quarterback princess. I was already there. I was a baseball kid. I was doing all of that. So it was like, okay, yeah. So you could throw a ball. You mean like this? And they're like, oh, well, your hips. That's why when you throw a football, that's why it automatically spirals, because of your hips. And I'm like, what? I could have sworn it was my left hand and the way I grip the ball and just let it go.
There's always an excuse as to why.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, wow, you did that.
Mm-hmm. And then with baseball, I grew up watching and playing. So you take the bat, you hit the ball, eye-hand coordination. You see a ball coming, you use your glove, catch it. So, you're smart and you know math. That's why it was easy for you to do that. Really? It's like, so there was always an excuse why I was able to do things. So, but seeing now with these comics, seeing the world that we're growing into, and seeing the world that I was growing up from, it just really blew my mind how, again, from the beginning of time, you're always taught as a young child, your mom, you have to treat her right. And you tell your kids, your daughters, your sons, watch how he or she treats their parents. And you'll know from that how they'll treat you. And, the respect and all of that.
Right.
And it stems from that. But yet you get these videos now where, again, how we were saying when we started the conversation, the clothing, minimizing, everything was focused on the sexual nature part of it. And it's like, really? So you see your mom that way? That's how I always see things. It's like your sister, your girlfriend. So if some guy looks at your little girl like that, you're going to be cool with this, and I always tell my son, remember you have daughters, and think about the guy that she'll bring to meet you. Do you want her to bring a guy like you to your door?
Wow. That's deep. That's deep.
Change your ways and show her what you really want to see. Treat the moms right. treat your moms right, let your kids see, show your sons, hey, nah, don't do that. Help her. If you see her, don't do it because, I'm going to be the big macho guy. No, do it as, hey, I'm your friend. And I want to see you as a human being to another human being for you to succeed. So it's a lot. It plays a lot. The superheroes, they have such a strong media and tool to help formulate for these kids, but they have to do it right. They have to take it out, like you said, from the old white men, producers, whatever. Right. Bring it into today's time. Open up, the opportunities. Look at the whole picture. You're going to be rich anyway, because all it's going to do is put money in your pockets. But you're giving that opportunity to open up,
right?
Where the next generation can say, oh, we did it where we had the guy came in first as the lead. Now we have the women as their partner, not as their backup. So that's what they got to focus on. Partners, not backup or sidekick type deal. And then formulate from that.
That's a beautiful thought. And such real, beautiful statements. Because it's true. It's very true. We're far past the stigma of what a woman should be, what a woman is supposed to be, right? Barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, cooking and cleaning and all that stuff. That's out the window. Some people still think like that, but that's out the window. Women are much stronger than people give them credit. And,
right.
and comic book movies had played such a pinnacle role in the development of young people nowadays. I was sitting there and I was thinking, when I first saw Iron Man, I remember how old I was. The kids that are watching Endgame, they were born, or they were like 5 years old. They're now 18, they're now 15, 16, 17, 18, so they grew up. So they grew up watching these movies and see how women were depicted. And I must say that the current state of where women are in the comic book industry is much better than where they were when they first came in. So I just quickly want to blast from the past real quick. Then I have one more topic I want to talk to you, and then we're going to wrap up.
Okay.
So the blast from the past, when I think of Batman and Catwoman. Now, Catwoman, she played a very important role in that movie, but she was overly sexualized, and I understood why, right? But she still played a very pinnacle role. Now, Catwoman came out again with Halle Berry, and it got bashed. It got demolished. It was bad. And that then put a stigma on women. Hey, we can't have another woman lead a movie because look how bad it was. And then it followed up with Elektra. So it really hurt where women could be, even higher now and a lot sooner than later because of those bad flops leading up to Wonder Woman and then Captain Marvel. My question to you is, knowing where we were in the track history that women had in past movies back in the 70s and 80s in the comic book, big flops in the 90s, the uprising or the Phoenix Rising in the late 2000s, what female would you love to see put to film, comic book, done properly?
When you said the Catwoman, I went back a little further.
Okay.
Julie Newmar and Eartha Kitt.
Ooh, okay.
I got goosebumps because they brought such class and such a strong presence. I mean, they used to keep the Joker and Egghead and all of them in check. The Penguin in check.
Now this was the Adam West Batman.
Yes. The women there, even Batgirl, she wasn't as strong, but stronger than the ones that have been depicted in the current times for the DC comics. If they took some of that
Mm-hmm.
and figure out some Marvel magic. Because again, in its two different universes, you see Captain Marvel. She literally, I mean, they did a really great job with her. I wasn't disappointed. They have to stop that stigma where they fell into back in the 80s to 90s with the DC women.
Mm-hmm.
Pull some of that 60s woman out from Julie Newmar and from Eartha Kitt, because they literally had a pair. And they would let the guy know, you know, they didn't play the damsel in distress role. They play the, we got you in check because we set up the trap. You just went ahead and played that role.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
They reversed it. The male was the victim. He fell victim to, yes, they were beautiful. They were clever.
Mm-hmm.
They knew how to lure their prey. So they did it. I mean, and although they were the villains, they did it right.
Right. Right.
Didn't do the damsel in distress type. That's what they, the ones that they have now, they need to, from all the characters, it would be nice if they did, and they played it out already with Michelle Pfeiffer and Halle Berry. And I love both of those actresses. But like you said, and it was mostly, I think, because of the way their costume was made. So it was mostly for, hey, let me see how much flesh we can get out of this. Don't worry about the script. We got a face, we got a body. You got chocolate and vanilla. It appeases everybody. Let's bring that in. No, work on their roles. Work on the actual story behind them. Cats are supposed to be one of the oldest creatures since the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Even in the universe for Marvel, a Farkle is stronger than the average black guy. Like, he was like, what? Wait up, you better check that machine. So, you know, there's so much potential there, and they're missing it because they're too busy going for the eye candy to lure it in the old-fashioned way.
That's right.
If they actually took a minute and write out a script, look at what you're writing before you get it out there. I think Catwoman could come back. That would be nice.
Well, we are getting Catwoman. Well, not as a film, but in the new Batman, Matt Reeves Batman movie, Zoe Kravitz is playing Catwoman. So
okay. And then Wonder Woman, they kind of, I wasn't too crazy about the actress who plays her.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of Isis as well. Again, this is back in the day, but these were stronger women. They had a different way to do things. And that to us back then was futuristic of how it should be now.
True.
How women should be in power. At least as a partner. So from all of them, I really don't see which one I would really want to see come out, because it's just, they're just going to go for the costume, and the mindset's already there. I would love to see Jamie Summers come out. She's not neither Marvel or DC.
Okay.
With Bionic Woman.
Okay.
That was a chick, and I was like, oh my God, she is so cool. But again, it wasn't appealing to the male audience because she wasn't showing everything off. So
I feel that where we are now in society, especially where they are in the comic book movies, I feel like we're a little bit past. I don't want to say we're all the way past that, but I feel like certain properties are past the just make eye candy pop and then people will come to it. So, for example, DC had Birds of Prey, a team of women, but Harley Quinn was the quintessential. And Harley Quinn, she is, in my opinion, she's a sex symbol in a sense. Is Margot Robbie first off, and what she wears, the pink tail, the craziness, guys love it. And her first iteration from Suicide Squad, she was taking off the clothes and everything like that, and people were watching, and she was talking to them as if they're the audience, and I was like I already know what's gonna happen. Fanboys are gonna go crazy. Anything you put Margot Robbie in and you put her in that Harley Quinn outfit, people are gonna be there. Sex symbol. Now flip it over to Marvel. You have Black Widow that's coming out. Now, again, we've seen Scarlett Johansson play this role for about a decade now. And her movie, it's the same thing. It's about her story, and she has a team of females, with the exception of like one dude, Red Russian. But it's a team of females that's with her because of her background, the ballerina school, the fact that she was trained as an assassin. She was trained with other women to be assassins. Right. So that's a totally different take on the story as far as what's going to appeal. And I think at the end of the day, the story that people are going to come out to see. Yes, they're going to want to see that face. They're going to want to see that body. But I feel like we're, at least in Marvel's world, they're past that eye candy. Because I can't remember the last time. Well, I can, but the last time I had that reaction was during the first Avengers when she walked up on the let me not lie. It was also in in Winter Soldier where she pulled up in that Corvette and she was looking at Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie's character, and the way she was looking at him, I was just like, but that had nothing to do with her body. But that's just Scarlett Johansson, and that's just another story. But again, they don't overly sexualize their characters. Is what I'm getting to, and I think that because Marvel has shown and proven that you could still grab the audience, and you don't need to have a half-naked woman in the midst of this team. Like that image in Endgame when all of the women were coming out and they were all stepping up to go up against Thanos. Not one of them looked like they were underdressed for the occasion. Like they were fully clothed, strong, independent women. And I think that that's the direction that we're all going now. I think DC is going to get there. I think they're going to get there because they really don't have any females with the exception of Harley Quinn and Wonder Woman. They don't have a lot of females in their group as far as super powered or super villainy. So I believe they'll get there at some point. But going forward, I feel very confident in the use of women in the future of comic book movies. I think we're
now with the DC, the one female that I thought it was a brother sister team, the Wonder Twins.
Yes.
Loved them. I missed them. That was the reason why we would get up in the morning at 5:30 in the morning to make sure I did not miss the beginning attractions of everything of the show, of the cartoon. Because the Wonder Twins, Wonder Twins powers activate. Yes. Take the shape of,
And you know something? There was I want to say maybe 15 years ago, there was a poster. And this poster was allegedly taken in Warner Brothers Studios. And it said, it had the two fists. It was like this. And it said, activated. Right there. That's all the poster said. And it leaked online. And I saw that and I was like, they're about to do Wonder? Yo, I got amped.
They should have gone with it.
It never came out.
They need to do it because it would show a team dynamic, especially between siblings. Especially now, we need, COVID was something that was horrible for the whole world. But in every cloud, there's a silver lining. Me personally, I used to tell my friends, family is finally going to get to see each other again.
Yeah.
Mom, dad, the kids, they're all going to be stuck in the same house. There's no running away from anywhere because right there. So that's the silver lining. Get to know that person that you, one, produced, and two, that's your generation before you. Learn something. Get that time, family time, bring it back in there. So that was my silver lining with the whole COVID thing. And with the Wonder Twins, brothers and sisters can work with each other. They look out. I got nieces and nephews that are just like that. It's beautiful to see it. You know, myself, my brother, we look out for each other. So they just need to bring that into the mix, bring that family unity foundation back. Maybe things will start looking better outwards.
Right.
From, you know, you've got to set that foundation first before you start going out building things. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah,
absolutely.
Wonder Twins, that would have been incredible if they went ahead with that, to bring it up into the. That should be like that ace card. Like, okay, we tried everything. Obviously,
I feel
it's
like
not working.
It'll be a good nostalgic. It'll be a good nostalgic movie because not a lot of people know about Wonder Twins, but the people who do know about Wonder Twins, it will give people a reason to look them up. And I think that would. And I like how you, and just to kind of stay on this this topic real quick of siblings. You have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. You know, those two were siblings. They had one movie together, but WandaVision went deeper into that connection between the two twins, brother and sister. You know, even though Wanda was the center, and I can't believe I almost kind of wrapped up without even talking about WandaVision. One of the biggest impacts this year was WandaVision. How the story of this woman's pain, agony, regret, how it just manifested not only her spouse in Vision, but her entire world that she was living in Westview. If you think about that and how successful the entire season was, where the world was gripped to it every week, you know, that says a lot. Because I would say 10 years ago, no, this wouldn't have been able to happen. But now, absolutely. And it's just amazing that, and Marvel, that shows a lot of confidence that Marvel have in their female leads, because this was the first kickoff to the Disney Plus series of Marvel content, of TV content. She was the first, and it wasn't even about Vision, Paul Bettany. Like, people were really excited. You know, Vision is there. We want to know about Wanda. We want to understand her powers. We want to understand her background. And they touched on a lot of things. And I just thought that was just, it was promising to see that, because that's the direction that we're going to go moving forward. Women are not going to be subjective, and they're not going to be stereotyped as the damsel in distress, the one that has scantily clothed with their bodies just hanging all over the place. All that stuff is done with. I feel like we're going into a new era where women can be the leads. Women can be the leaders. We have a vice president who is a woman. She's literally, if Joe Biden says, yo, I'm done, I can't do this, she's president.
She's that close.
Off the rip. I mean, my man fell up the stairs the other day. I was like, oh, Kamala, you ready? You ready? So but that's just where it is. But you know, that's where we are in society. There are strong women, and these women are getting a better viewing and a better showing. And I think that that's the most important thing, and that's the whole point of tonight's episode, to commemorate and to talk about the impact that women have made despite their past of who they were, what they were, and where we are today. So
and going off of what you said with WandaVision, she suffered so many losses.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. A life that she wanted, it was not going to be possible because the person she was so madly in love with, her soulmate, was literally obliterated from her. Her brother, her one touch to the past, who knew her since she was a little girl. So I felt when they showed that last episode and they broke it down on her grief and what it did, how she dealt with it. So many women out there, yeah, we get the label, yeah, she's bat crazy,
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a lot of crap that we put up with, but because society expects us to be a certain way. So we're always walking with a mask on. You can't see what's behind it. We won't let you see what's behind it, because that's just more ways for the, society to bring you further down,
Right.
to hold you back. But she showed you, mess with that crazy chick, or that chick you think is crazy. You don't know what she's going through. She'll change your world around. And you just may be that puppet within her realm doing what she needs you to do. So that was pretty powerful. I thought for most part that should be an awakening. Like, hey, don't push that chick. That's why they have a show called Snapped.
Oh yeah.
So, it's and it just showed, although we're considered to be the weaker sex, really think about it. We get a cold, we still have to take care of the kids, the house, the job, and the hubby. Hubby gets a cold, all of a sudden, stop the press. Everybody stop breathing. Daddy's got a sniffle. Get the respirator, So it's just amazing how society keeps putting that in people's heads. We are the weaker ones, when in reality, we're your equal. I mean, yeah, we may not be able to lift the whole 100 pounds in one shot like you. We're not built for body mass like that. But if you guys went through one menstrual cramp, trust me, that 100 pounds, it seems like paper to us. It's like, what? Oh.
I want to leave us on this, just to tag on to what you said. There is a video that is out where it's like a center of gravity challenge, where there's a woman and a man. They're both on their knees like this, and the woman takes her two hands and puts it behind her back, and she's able to stay fully leveled to where she was when her hands was down. The men, every guy that did it, every guy that did it fell flat on their face.
Oh, you gotta send me that link.
I'll send that to you. But it's an amazing video, because, as you said, it seems like, yeah, men with a stronger sex, that means we're stronger, we're bigger, we can do everything, blah 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 blah. But when you see that video and you see how big, strong, burly guys that can lift more than the woman that's standing next to them, but they can't do that simple act. That just goes to show that there are certain things that men can't do, and there are certain things that women can do, and we have to learn how to see you as equals, and not just as a aid or a partner. Well, not even a partner, but because there's 50-50 partners, but just like an assistant. You're not an assistant. You're the CEO. You're here with us. So that was one thing. My dad and my mom. That was one thing that they always showed in the house. It was just one line. My dad wasn't greater than my mom. My mom wasn't greater than my dad, even though my mom is taller than my father, kind of towers over him. But it didn't matter. It was always the same message, the same approach. They were a team. So that's what it was. That's what it's all about. And again, I'm just so happy and thankful that you had the time to join me tonight to talk about this topic, because it is an important topic. And women, you guys have made incredible impacts, not only in the world of comic books, but in this life, in the world in general. I just wrapped up the women's history class I was teaching every Friday, and it gave me more appreciation for what women have done. I used my windshield wipers today because it was raining like crazy. I was like, oh yeah, Mary Anderson made that. Look at that. I didn't know that before, but now I do.
Right.
So I do thank you for being here, though.
I'm so honored that I was able to do this. I love doing live cams with you. You're such a pleasant person. Somebody was asking me, they were like, oh, he seems like a nice guy. I was like, oh, he's a sweetheart. Oh my God. You're so down to earth. I love it. From the minute I saw you guys on the show, it was like, they gotta make it. They gotta make it. They gotta make it. And then that first time I wrote, I figured they're probably getting like a billion messages, and they're like, yeah, I don't got time for this. And then you responded, and it was like, oh my God, okay, calm down. Keep responding. So I'm happy our friendship formulated. I'm looking forward to things in the future. it's really so cool. I
Yeah.
love how we have so many things in common. And it's weird because it's like they like comics. I like comics. Oh, they do Lego. I do Lego. So it's like we do the movies.
Oh,
So it's really, like minds think alike, and it's
yeah.
really great. We're about teaching. I'm not a teacher per se, but I do a lot of the things that I do in a teachable way. At least that's what my brother tells me. He's always telling me, you need to go on one of those cooking shows. Like I could watch you cook. And I'm like, what? He goes, because you don't just cook. You explain as you go so that the person who doesn't know what to do, they're like, yeah, so she took out the butter because she was doing this. And then she added this to do that because she's telling you as you're going. And then you get this meal and you're like, you won both ways. You learn how to, and it tastes great too. So, but yes, I love your company. I love watching your streams all the time. It's like, oh, Corey's on.
I always tell people, go into Lego Masters and then Buddy vs. Christmas. TV is either going to do two things: one, bring out the worst in you, or bring out the best in you. And going on TV, I feel that it brought out the best in me. And I'm the same. I tell my friends all the time. They be like, "Oh, celebrity." No, I'm like, "Yo, dude, nah." I'm the same. I'm the same brother. I'm the same guy. I'm no different than you. Nor do I want to be treated any different. At the end of the day, we live in this community together. We live in this world together. We got to make things right and make things work for each other. So,
amen on that.
Share my platform and help you grow as far as a broadcaster, a personality. That's why I'm here. That's what I do. So, that's what's most important to me. So, again, I do thank you for your candor tonight. I do thank you for your perspective. That's the most important thing. If I could have done this, me not be here and have a whole bunch of women just sharing their perspective, then that'd have been, but this is even better one-on-one. So thank you again.
And I invite you to come over to the New Blurred Order because they would love to have your input. They're on Saturdays. At 9. They start at 9 in the morning. And even though Vince, Yasmin, which is my daughter, and Bad Ty, when they go on and they say it's only going to be an hour, the conversation gets so good. And they hit every spectrum like we did.
Yeah.
You would fit in. Oh my God. They would just be like, wow, we had Russell. He plays a lot of parts in a lot of the movies. I think he was in Winter Soldier on the train when they were fighting.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember his name, and I'm like, oh, I'm following him. But
that's awesome.
Russo, that's his name. His last name is Russo. He's an actor. And he came on, and then they just recently had another actor, I think, come on. And they were just jiving, talking, going over. So I want to be able to say, I'm bringing my friend over because he wants to play.
I'm down. We just got to figure out let me see. I got to figure it out because Saturday is usually a pretty hectic time for me. So I will give you my word. I'll do my best. Dedicate a Saturday morning to come on and definitely share my thoughts. So I do thank you again.
They would love it. They would truly love it.
Wonderful. Everybody, once again, thank you so much for joining us tonight for that comic show, episode 6 of the podcast, the women's impact, female impact on the comic book medium. Please go and check it out. YouTube, it's going to be rebroadcast on YouTube. Check it out on Facebook as well. It's going to be there. Instagram is going to be there. Twitter, no, I don't think Twitter. Anyway, I'll figure it out. But nonetheless, thank you so much for joining, everybody. Thank you again for the love of Legos. Appreciate you. And you guys have a great rest of your day and night and week. Take care, everybody.
Take care.